Sometimes in this country, just when people think a story has started to cool down, something big happens again, and everything suddenly wakes up. That's exactly what has happened right now with the federal government and Nnamdi Kanu. Many Nigerians were already waiting quietly, hoping for some calm, but now a new move from the government has started the whole discussion again. My people, this one is another turning point, and it's shaking social media, radio talk shows, and even conversations at the market. If you're watching this right now, please like this video and subscribe, because what I'm about to share with you is deep, and you'll want to stay updated as the next few days unfold. So here's the gist. The Federal High Court in Abuja has moved forward again with the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And now things are heating up because the judge has officially fixed a final date for judgment, and that date is set for later this month. That decision alone has sent strong waves across the country. People are watching closely, wondering what will happen next. The government's lawyers have been pushing their arguments, saying the case has dragged for too long and the law must take its course. On the other side, Kanu's legal team has been struggling to defend him, to present their evidence, and to argue that the process itself has not been fair. But recently, the court said something that shocked many, that the defense had been foreclosed. That means the time given for them to defend themselves has ended. And with that, the case now seems to be heading straight toward judgment. At that moment, people started talking again. Everywhere the question was the same. Why now? Why would the government take this step again? And honestly, that's what many Nigerians are trying to understand. Why this sudden strong move now after so much waiting? Before I go on, if you're still watching, kindly like this video and subscribe to this channel. Let's continue together, because this matter is not small. Now, many of you already know that this case has been dragging for years. Since Nnamdi Kanu was brought back to Nigeria, it has gone through many court sessions, adjournments, and legal arguments. Each time people think the matter is almost over, another twist appears. But this new move by the federal government seems different because it shows they want to bring this case to an end one way or another. For Kanu's supporters, this is a very tense moment. Many of them have been calling for his release, saying he has been held too long and that his case should be settled politically, not in court. But the government's position has been clear. They say the matter is legal, not political, and that due process must be followed. So once again, the courtroom has become the center of national attention. Now let's talk about what this could mean. If the court finally gives its judgment, that outcome will affect millions of people, not just Kanu or his followers, but even those who don't follow politics much. You see, this case represents more than just one man. It touches the question of justice, fairness, and unity in our country. That's why emotions are high, and that's why the government's new action feels so heavy. But let's break it down simply. The judge has now said, we've waited long enough, the defense time is over. That means if Kanu's team doesn't come up with something extraordinary before Judgment Day, the court will decide based on what is already before it. That's serious, because once judgment is given, it can only be challenged at the higher court. And you know how long appeals can take in Nigeria. Now, the public reactions have been mixed. Some people believe the government is doing the right thing, saying the law is the law. But others say this looks like pressure, like the government is trying to silence one of its strongest critics. Whatever side you fall on, the truth is that the timing has made everyone sit up. If you are watching now and following this gist, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Let's keep going. Inside court, reports say the atmosphere has been tense but calm. Kanu, still in custody, has been appearing quietly, sometimes just sitting and listening as the lawyers argue back and forth. His supporters outside are always hopeful, waiting to hear any small good news. And yet, this new move, the foreclosure, has made many of them worry again. They feel like the door is closing fast and time is no longer on their side. But there's also another angle here that we should understand. Even though it looks like the federal government is winning legally, the case has also built sympathy for Kanu in many parts of the country. Every time there's a new twist, it reminds people of old questions. Questions about fairness, about how the law treats different people, and about whether our system listens to citizens' complaints. Those are deep questions that go beyond one man or one group. Now, one thing that keeps coming up in this gist is the law itself, the Terrorism Prevention Act. That's the law under which Kanu is being tried. His lawyers have argued that the government is relying on an outdated version of that law and that the new version doesn't support some of the charges. But the prosecution insists the charges stand and that the court has full power to continue. This argument has gone back and forth for months, and now it seems the court is ready to settle it once and for all. As we move closer to the judgment date, both sides are under pressure. The government wants to show that it can conclude such a high-profile case with discipline and order. The defense, on the other hand, wants to prove that Kanu deserves justice and fair treatment. But beyond the courtroom, there's a bigger test: how the Nigerian people will react when the final judgment comes. If you're following this carefully, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe for updates. I promise to keep you informed as soon as any new development comes up. Let's move on. There's something else we need to talk about in the emotional side of this whole issue. You see, behind all the politics and legal grammar, there's a man who has been in detention for years, a family waiting at home, and a community that sees him as a symbol of their struggle. That human story is what makes this gist powerful. It's not just about government versus one person. It's about the feeling of being heard, about whether justice still means the same thing to everyone in this country. Now, some groups, especially from the Southeast, have continued to call for his release through dialogue. They say the government should use wisdom and negotiation instead of confrontation. They argue that if peace is the goal, then reconciliation is better than punishment. But other voices are firm, saying that every nation must enforce its laws and nobody should be above the law. That is where Nigeria finds itself now, between law and emotion, between procedure and peace. Many people fear that if the court's decision goes one way, there might be tension again in some regions. And that's why leaders, both political and traditional, are appealing to everyone to remain calm. They want people to stay peaceful, no matter the outcome. Because at the end of the day, no matter how divided opinions are, we all still share one country. If you are with me so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. This is how we keep this channel growing so that more people can understand what's really going on. Now, let's talk about the political side quietly. Some analysts believe that the federal government's latest action may have political undertones. We're moving toward another election season, and nobody wants to look weak on security or the rule of law. So, the government might be trying to show that it is firm, that it cannot be pressured by public opinion. But that approach has its risks too, because it can make people feel ignored or unheard. The opposition and some civil rights activists are already saying the government should handle the matter more carefully. They argue that this isn't just another court case, it's a national conversation about unity and justice. You can tell that they want peace, but they also want fairness. And here's where I want you to think deeply. What happens after the judgment? If the court convicts Kanu, will that bring peace? If the court releases him, will that end the agitation? The truth is, peace is not just about one person's freedom. It's about dialogue, trust, and how the government and the people communicate. That's what will determine the future, not just the verdict. If you're watching this far, I know you're enjoying the gist. Please click the like button and subscribe now so you don't miss the next update. Let's go on. In the meantime, the federal government is keeping things tight. No senior official wants to make too many statements before the judgment day. They are keeping communication controlled, saying, let the court speak. That's a smart move because any comment now could be seen as influencing the court. At the same time, Kanu's legal team is doing everything possible to reopen the defense, to file more documents, and to prove that the process was rushed. It's a race against time. The next few days are critical, and that's why everyone is watching. Now, let's talk about something very important: peace and understanding. This issue has divided opinions for years, but we must not allow it to divide our hearts. No matter what happens, we all need to remember that Nigeria belongs to all of us. There's no benefit in anger or destruction. What we should all want is justice that builds, not justice that breaks. So my people, as we wait for that judgment, let's keep our minds calm. Let's discuss, not fight. Let's watch with wisdom, not emotion. Because one way or another, this case will shape how people view the law in this country. Please like this video right now if you're enjoying this calm, clear gist, and don't forget to subscribe so that once there's a new update, you'll be the first to hear it. And now, as I round up this part of the gist, remember, it's not over yet. The federal government has moved again, the court has spoken, and the next big day is around the corner. Between now and that day, expect more reactions, more opinions, and more drama. But as always, we'll keep breaking it down for you in simple, clear English that everyone can understand.